Hello everyone, I am Smila Hatipoğlu. I am studying computer engineering in Akdeniz University. Today I'm going to talk about React. React is an open source JavaScript library. It's mainly used in front-end development, focusing on building user interfaces, which is the user and computer system interact. React doing this via web or mobile applications. It's used for handling the view layer and can be used for the development of both web and mobile applications. There are some examples: React users, Netflix, Instagram, Facebook, Yahoo, and Sony. These are powerful companies, as you know. React was first created by Jordan Volk. He's working for Facebook as a software engineer. It was first deployed on Facebook's news feed in 2011 and later on Instagram in 2012. And there are features that makes React library so powerful to build modern applications, and what also make React stand out against other frameworks and libraries. Virtual DOMs, components, GSX, and one-way data binding. We will cover all of these topics one by one. So virtual DOMs mean document object model. It's most important part of the web applications. The DOM represents a document with a logical tree, and each branch of the tree ends in a node, and each node contains an object. Once the virtual DOM updated, then React compares the virtual DOM with a virtual DOM snapshot that was taken right before the update. And by comparing the new virtual DOM with the pre-update version, React figures out exactly which virtual DOM object have changed. And once React knows which virtual DOM object have changed, then React updates only those objects on the real DOM. So manipulating DOM is slow, and but manipulating the virtual DOM is much faster in React. So thanks for the virtual DOMs, React can update only the necessary parts of the DOM. That's the summary. Components. React is all about components. These React components can be reusable, and so this is help us to maintain the code for larger scale projects. React components were identically to JavaScript functions, and React components accept arbitrary inputs that we call probes and should always return a React element describing what should be rendered to the user. The simple way is this. React component is to define a JavaScript function and return a React element. In this example, there is defined a React component called welcome and accepts a single probe called probes, which stands for the properties, and return a single header. A React component should always return React element, like I said, otherwise it will throw an error. React components are powerful because they help us to keep cleaner and more strong and concise code throughout the whole application, and we can have as many React components as we want. GSX is a really powerful syntax. It's JavaScript syntax extension. It's an XML or HTML-like syntax used by React. We use it to create React elements. It's not necessary to use GSX, but it's recommended to use it. It helps to work in a better way with a UI inside on the JavaScript code. And one-way data binding. React uses one-way data binding. In one-way data binding can be applied in two ways: component to view and view to component. In component to view, any change in the component data will get reflected in the view, and view to component, any change in the view will get reflected in the component's data. In React, information inherited from a parent component, it's called probes. And probes are immutable objects whose values cannot be modified by the child components due to the unidirectional flow of data in React. The downward directional binding makes the code stable and consistent, as any child components changes won't affect the siblings or parents components. To modify an object, you just have to update the state. React.JS will automatically alter the valid details to maintain the consistency. And debugging and error checking are much more efficient in React due to the unidirectional data binding, providing higher control over the data access of components. It's, however, necessary to ensure that important values that need to be accessible and modifiable by allowed components are declared as props in parent components to avoid access issues. And there are some prerequisites for React. Before start learning React, it's good to know some basic understanding of HTML, CSS, document object model, ES6, Node.js, and NPM. Without installing anything, we can use CodePen and Code Sandbox. There are some websites which allows us to create some small applications in React. And if you want to create some applications in our local network computer, first of all we need to download Node.js. You can go to the nodejs.com and download the latest version in here. And after all of them, we need to open the command prompt and type some codes. Let's look at some examples. To get started, I have Visual Studio Code open to a completely blank project, and first thing we need to do is make sure we have Node installed by just typing the Node -v. I have already installed the Node.js, and this is the version of my Node.js. If you don't have Node.js, you can go to the website and you can download from here. After that, we need to run npx, which is a lot like npm, but instead of downloading something, it's actually going to run the command for you. And I want to run the command that creates React project. And the name of my project, I would say new project. When I hit enter, what it's going to do is it's going to start up and create our entire React application. It will download all the necessary packages for me. It takes quite a while to download everything, so I'm going to show from here, which I done it before. So as you can see, there are new files and folders on the left hand side. We can take a look over the files that we have over here. Node modules, these all are libraries on our public folder. We have essentially the HTML file, and there's a special thing about this HTML file is this HTML file has only this div, which is the root. There is no style sheet, there is no script tags, and there is nothing inside of here except a single div, which is root. And all of our application is going to be put inside of that root div. React is going to generate our HTML and put it inside of this div here. And so our HTML is very basic for this application. And we have all of our style sheets, JavaScript test files, logos, literally everything in our application that's part of our source file is going to be inside of the source folder. So let's look at what's actually we have. We will write npm start. npm start, which is going to allow us to start our development environment. It's going to up our application in the browser for us. Now, let's make something Instead of learn React, we can say learn React today. When I save it, it will automatically refresh it for me, which is a really great aspect of React. With the use case, we want to actually remove some of the unnecessary parts of this border part of code. I will write null, and when I save it, it will give me a blank page. And now I don't need this CSS parts. I don't need this text file. I don't need logos. I don't need import web vitals. And I don't need this logo import here. And I will save this. Yeah, I need to save. So this is a clean start for me. First, you want to create an application. We need to do all of this. So let's make just simple hello world with some header tags. I save it. It's going here. It's all of it. Thank you for listening to me. Yeah, so.